Belum ya? Oke ya, masuk ya.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan semua, saya Amanda MC pada kegiatan kita siang ini. Mohon bersabar menunggu peserta yang lain, tetap pastikan mic Anda dalam posisi mute selama kegiatan berlangsung. Kita akan memulai 5 menit lagi.
INFRAON Technologies is an award-winning software product company with its core in AIOps for enterprise and telecoms. Using AIOps and its related processes, it lays the foundation of digital transformation for enterprises and telecoms. Our flagship product, under the INFRAON brand, blends together an AIOps-driven core. We cater to large enterprises, telecoms, BFSI, government, and other verticals. We have a noteworthy global presence. INFRAON for the enterprise is AIOps-driven and simplifies IT operations management. It's a product suite that consists of 3 integrated products underneath. INFRAON IMIS is a unified IT infrastructure management tool. INFRAON Desk automates business processes and service delivery. We also have a Pink Elephant certification for our INFRAON Desk product. INFRAON NCCM automates change and configuration management. For telecoms, the combination of INFRAON OSS and INFRAON Desk can cater to deployments of any scale. Chief executives can now transform IT into a strategic business driver. At INFRAON Technologies, we use AI, machine learning, and inventive products to bridge the digital transformation gap. INFRAON Technologies is an award-winning software product company with its core in AIOps for enterprise and telecoms. Using AIOps and its related processes, it lays the foundation of digital transformation for enterprises and telecoms. Our flagship product, under the INFRAON brand, blends together an AIOps-driven core. We cater to large enterprises, telecoms, BFSI, government, and other verticals. We have a noteworthy global presence. INFRAON for the enterprise is AIOps-driven and simplifies IT operations management. It's a product suite that consists of 3 integrated products underneath. INFRAON IMIS is a unified IT infrastructure management tool. INFRAON Desk automates business processes and service delivery. We also have a Pink Elephant certification for our INFRAON Desk product. INFRAON NCCM automates change and configuration management. For telecoms, the combination of INFRAON OSS and INFRAON Desk can cater to deployments of any scale. Chief executives can now transform IT into a strategic business driver. At INFRAON Technologies, we use AI, machine learning, and inventive products to bridge the digital transformation gap.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan. Kita akan memulai rangkaian acara webinar kita. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Dalam kesempatan yang baik ini, kita akan membahas tema mengenai ITxMakademi, Building Your Company as Managed Service Provider. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining our webinar series today. We will discuss ITxMakademi, Building Your Company as Managed Service Provider. Kegiatan ini didukung oleh ITxMakademi, Asosiasi Pengusaha Teknologi Informasi dan Komunikasi Nasional. Diadakan oleh Event Cerdas, mitra transformasi digital Anda. Didukung juga oleh media partner biskom.web.id, portal teknologi informasi, komunikasi, dan hukum. This event is supported by ITxMakademi, Indonesia ICT Business Association, Event Cerdas, your digital transformation partner, and biskom.web.id, IT and Law Portal. Webinar ini akan dimoderator oleh Funky Christian, selaku Ketua ITxMakademi DKI Jakarta. This webinar will be moderated by Funky Christian as Regional Chairman of ITxMakademi Jakarta. Silakan Pak Funky.
Baik, terima kasih Amanda. Selamat siang rekan-rekan semua. Selamat datang kembali di seri lanjutan dalam pembahasan kita terkait dengan tema kita di bulan Juli ini ya. Bulan Juli ini kita akan banyak bicara tentang managed service provider. Nah, kebetulan di salah satu perusahaan yang kami tangani, PT Kota Cerdas Indonesia itu menjadi distributor dari produk INFRAON dari IMS. Nah, di produk ini memang digunakan juga sebagai managed service provider, khususnya untuk teman-teman telco ya, teman-teman service provider, dan ini banyak digunakan saat ini memang masih di luar Indonesia, tapi saat ini juga sudah bisa digunakan dan sudah ada distributornya di Indonesia sebenarnya semenjak 2 tahun yang lalu begitu ya. Oke, jadi dalam kesempatan ini juga saya memperkenalkan tim dari Kota Cerdas Indonesia yang khususnya akan menangani produk-produk INFRAON. Di sini hadir juga Pak Denny, bisa tampil sebentar ininya, videonya ya. Jadi ini saya introduce Pak Denny dulu nih. Jadi Pak Denny ini adalah selaku technical untuk INFRAON Indonesia ya. Jadi nanti rekan-rekan silakan apabila nanti ingin mencoba lebih lanjut, tes lebih lanjut terkait dengan produk INFRAON, nanti bisa menghubungi Amanda, atau di sini juga ada Christine ya, tim dari Event Cerdas, Kota Cerdas, yang nanti bisa membantu untuk presentasi, POC, dan mungkin sampai ke sizing ya, gitu ya Pak Denny ya?
Ya, siap Pak Franky.
Ya, jadi Pak Denny ini siap membantu rekan-rekan sekalian yang terutama dari teman-teman service provider nih Pak Denny. Jadi banyak juga ada beberapa teman-teman yang mungkin di sini hadir atau ngelihat di YouTube dari segmen service provider. Ini juga kita harapkan bisa mencoba ya produk INFRAON. Nah, jadi saya mau cerita sedikit nih Pak Denny. Jadi sebetulnya dari minggu lalu kita udah bahas tentang managed service provider. Nah, di managed service provider ini ada beberapa tema-tema ataupun concern ya menarik, khususnya terkait dengan platform yang mereka harus gunakan. Nah, platform yang mereka harus gunakan ini mungkin juga menjadi salah satu kendala dan tantangan di teman-teman service provider karena softwarenya harusnya pertama bisa terintegrasi. Jadi softwarenya bisa terintegrasi untuk monitoring system, helpdesk, dan juga sampai ke remote, biasanya ada request sampai ke remote. Kemudian sampai ke configuration management. Nah, ini biasanya challenge-nya mereka ingin dalam satu platform. Ada monitoring system, ada helpdesk, dan juga ada configuration management. Nah, ini ada ya Pak ya, di Pak Denny ya, di INFRAON ada ya, lengkap ya?
Ada Pak, lengkap. Memang salah satu keunggulannya IFRS atau INFRAON ini memang bisa diintegrasi semua Pak.
Ya, jadi ini yang menarik, nanti teman-teman akan lihat secara detail, presentasinya mungkin dalam bahasa Inggris, nanti masih disampaikan oleh Mr. Manis Mohan from IMS. He will do the presentation, but in discussion, Pak Denny also can help to answer your question ya. Jadi silakan teman-teman nanti apabila ada pertanyaan di sesi Q&A, Pak Denny dan saya mungkin akan membantu untuk bisa menjawab di pertanyaan-pertanyaan teman-teman sekalian terkait dengan bagaimana implementasi yang tepat, yang baik untuk software-software ataupun platform yang bisa mendukung untuk perusahaan managed service provider. Okay, I would like to invite Manis to share the presentation for us. So, Manis, the screen is yours, Manis.
Hey, thank you, Frankie. Thank you for the introduction. Although I could only understand the English version of it, but still thanks a lot, everyone.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm Manish Mohan. I'll be, presenting the solution from Everest IMS today. And I look after the pre-sales for the Southeast Asia region for Everest IMS Technologies. So without further ado, I'll just share my screen and we'll begin with the presentation. So what I've planned for today is that, we will be, first of all, we will go through the Everest IMS portfolio, just a quick presentation on what Everest is and how we, what are the different products that we carry, how are we integrating our products all together to give a complete 360-degree view to our customers. And then we will also talk about the MSP versions that we have for all of you to utilize and to provide the solutions to your customers and how they can access their systems, how they can monitor their devices which you are handling. Okay, so Everest IMS as a company, so we are about 14 plus years old or about 15 years old in the market. And we have been doing a lot of business under the Indian segment or the Indian region. And we have started working out in past 2 years. We have started working in the Southeast Asia region as well. So the tool has a lot of experience when it comes to telcos, when it comes to government entities, when it comes to enterprise, right? So you have all the different sectors which are being covered by us. And we are currently headquartered in Bangalore. Yeah, so we are currently headquartered in Bangalore, India, and we have operations in Middle East, Southeast Asia, of course, as well as the US segment. Also, we have started out. And we also have a 24/7 NOC support, which in case if it is required, we provide 24/7 support to our customers as well. It is also available in the Bangalore location. Then we have more than 200 plus customers globally, and about 5 core integrated products, which which are integrated and they are modular as well. So in case you want a specific product, we can pitch in, or you can pitch that particular product to your customers as well. In terms of our product portfolio, so before we go into that, just a quick awards and recognitions that we have received over the years. So, sorry. So our ticketing tool solution is certified for 13 processes by Pink Elephant. For those who are not aware about Pink Elephant, it's a global entity, okay, who certifies the ITSM tools, which are based on ITIL framework. ITIL is International IT Library, International Library Infrastructure. Okay. So they have laid down certain processes. So like your incident management, problem management, change management, and SLAs, asset, right? So we are currently certified for 13 processes by Pink Elephant. We have done an OWASP security certifications for all our enterprise-based application. So OWASP security certification is nothing but, it makes sure that none of the tools that we are proposing to the customers, they do not have any open vulnerability that can be used by a hacker to get into the system or get into the network. Then some of the awards that we have won based on the startup awards in India 500 startup awards. Then there was an International Trade Council Go Global Award in 2019. And as part of the standard processes that the company follows, so the organization is certified on ISO 20001 2018, ISO 9001 2015 for your certified company, and 27001 for your information security management, and 20,000 for the IT service management portfolio. Okay, so in case you have any queries, you can drop in into the chat, or you can unmute, and we are always here to help you out. Okay, now when it comes to our product portfolio, so we have two different set of offerings that we offer. So one is a unified enterprise offerings, and the other one is a telecom offering. So just to give a brief about why there is a separate telecom offerings altogether is previously, we were associated with a telecom known as KDDI Group, which is one of the largest telecoms in Japan. Okay, so the tool has grown in a telecom environment, and we know how the telcos work. What are the different parameters they have opted over there? What is the UNMS which is required? How the different NMS or different EMS tools are integrated with each other to provide a single pane of glass to the end customer. Okay, but we are going to focus on the enterprise offerings today, and the MSP part of it. So overall, we have three flagship products. Okay, so INFRAON IMS, INFRAON Desk, and INFRAON NCCM. So INFRAON IMS is a unified network monitoring tool, which monitors not only the your traditional IT devices or traditional data center devices, but it also monitors the peripheral devices, okay, such as your Wi-Fi access controller, Wi-Fi access points. Then you have IP-based cameras, SMPS, right? Smart racks. So these devices also we can monitor through INFRAON IMS. Then INFRAON Desk is again the ticketing or the ITSM solution, which is certified for 13 process. And INFRAON NCCM is a network automation tool specifically built for network devices that support CLI. So you can do the network configuration backup, configuration rollbacks, configuration upload, downloads, right? And it also helps you to do the vulnerability assessment of the devices along with the compliance check and the policy checks within the network devices. Okay, so this is just a glimpse about the three products. We are going to talk about all the three products one by one, and so starting with the INFRAON IMS. So before we begin, so few things to know about INFRAON IMS is the tool is entirely agentless when it comes to standard monitoring purpose. So what we do is we do not install any agents on the target devices. We use the industry standard protocols like SNMP, WMI, SSH for monitoring the network devices, Windows and Linux servers. Okay, and the tool is built on Python language, and we are using PostgreSQL as the standard database. Okay, and the OS on which you can install is Oracle Linux 8.5. Why I'm stressing on these points is all the tools that I mentioned to you, like the Oracle, the database, the OS, and the programming language, right? So they are all available over the internet. So the customers to whom you pitch the solution, they don't have to buy additional licenses for Microsoft OS or Microsoft database. Okay, so the tool comes as a VM package as well, so where you can directly mount it on any hypervisor. It can be Hyper-V, it can be VMware, it can be Nutanix, right? So, and then it has multiple modules which are built into it. So you have fault and performance management, and we have a network and traffic management. So once we do the discovery of all the devices, we capture the network information, and we are able to identify the topology of the devices based on LLDP and CDP protocols. And using these topology information, the system automatically creates a topology view showcasing how the different devices are connected to each other. Okay, and it also helps you in doing the root cause analysis based on the topology that the customer is following. Then we also do the traffic management, where you actually you capture the flows from different junctional devices to identify the top talkers in the network. Okay, the top talkers, top application, top protocols, and we support all the different kind of flows. So be it NetFlow, SFlow, JFlow, all of these are supported. Then we do server and application management. So server monitoring includes your physical as well as your virtual server monitoring. And in terms of applications, so we are more into the middleware applications like your Apache, Tomcat, IIS, and the services which are running on these servers, right? So if I'm monitoring a server, I can also monitor the service and processes, okay, which are running on those particular servers to identify if there is any process that is hogging a CPU or memory or the bandwidth choking. Then we do a business analysis dashboard. So the system by default comes with a set of dashboards and reports that you can utilize. The system also gives you an option to creating your, to create your own dashboards, and you can, configure it from the GUI itself. Then apart from the topology view that we spoke, we have a network diagram and a geomap. So geomap is basically we use Google Maps to showcase the device locations, and network diagram is something that you can use. It is quite similar to Microsoft Visio, which it is a diagram builder tool, so it has to be done manually. But once you have configured or once you have created your diagram, you can actually use that to monitor the infrastructure as well. Okay, and we have role-based access to all the sections of the tools. Then you have multi-mode notifications, and we support email-based escalations as well. So in case there is an alarm for a particular device, in case if it is not being acknowledged by the NOC engineer, we can actually escalate that after the specified amount of time. Then we support API level integrations. So we use REST APIs. So in case you want to integrate it with any third-party solutions, we offer our REST APIs, or we can call up their functionalities as well. Okay, based on that, we are open for third-party integrations, and we do a correlation, based on the topology or based on the hierarchy that we do. So in case you have a router or you have a switch through which there is a server that I'm monitoring, and that particular switch goes down, right? So my connectivity to that server also breaks. So in such scenarios, since we know we understand what kind of topology you are into, so we are able to suppress, or we are able to create a parent-child relationship between these two alarms. Okay, so where the switch alarm will become the root alarm, and the other alarms which are associated with this, it will become the child. They will become the child alarms. So instead of bombarding your NOC engineers with hundreds of the alarms, they will be only showcased one or two alarms, and all the rest of the alarms will be under the root, or will be under the root alarms. Okay, so this really helps you from getting alarm flooded, and getting false informations as well. So this is about INFRAON IMS. Then when we talk about INFRAON desk, or the IT service management system, so like I mentioned, so we have different processes which are working under it. So you have incident management, problem management, request. We also provide a self-service portal to all the requesters who want to raise a ticket, right? So they can log in into the tool and they can raise a ticket on their own. We also provide some additional ways on how a ticket can be raised. For example, there is a ticket there is email to alarm or email to ticket conversion. Okay, so the requesters can simply send out an email to support@everest.com, and the email will be converted into a ticket. Similarly, they can use our mobile application. They can call up the help desk, where the help desk engineers can raise a ticket on their behalf. Okay, so there are multiple ways how a ticket can be generated based on what kind of access the customer has. They can create a ticket for themselves. Then the entire tool is workflow driven. So how a ticket is going to flow from one state to another, it can be defined, it can be automated using the workflows that we have. Okay, and the entire tool is available on SaaS as well as on premise, and so we also support integrations. So our INFRAON desk is already integrated with our INFRAON IMS. Okay, so any alarms that are being generated on INFRAON IMS can be directly, pushed to INFRAON desk for creating a ticket, and the entire ticketing lifecycle can follow. Okay. Then we have the network configuration and change management, or the NCCM tool. It helps you in configuration snapshot management. It does the inventory management with end of life and end of sale support. Okay. We also support, so since it's a complete network automation tool, so you can automate the routine tasks. It can also help you for task orchestrations, where there can be a hierarchy of tasks based on, let's say, for example, there is task A and task B. So in case the task A has been successfully executed, then only I'm supposed to go towards task B, or I can go to task C, right? So that kind of automation is available within the tool. We also help the customers to understand the vulnerabilities, okay, which are there in the devices. So there's a small integration that is required with the OEMs, where we capture the information from OEMs repositories, and based on that we highlight it, and if there is any remediation that is available, we can showcase that to the network administrator. Okay. We help the customers in standard policy compliances. So your standard PCI DSS, NIST compliances, right? So apart from that, we also have a day-to-day or a golden template, where the rules which are applicable only for your organization or only for the customer's organization, they can create a policy from it, and the system will keep on checking the policies on each and every network device. Okay. And all the activities that are being performed on the tool are being audited and logged. So the moment a user will log into the tool, and from the time they will log out, every activity is getting audited. And we also support taking the CLI access of network devices, and it helps you with multiple things. So you can actually control what commands can or cannot be executed in that particular session. Okay. And the entire session is also being monitored, and it is also being recorded, so you can view it in a later stage as well. So in case you want to find out who executed the reboot command or who executed the show SNMP command, you can actually see it from the screen recordings. Okay. And so then the entire tool also has the role-based access control. So where depending on what kind of authorization you have provided to a NOC engineer, only that set of devices, or only that set of the or only that section of the tool will be accessible to them. Okay. So this was with regards to the different tools. Now, how we are bringing all the three tools together is something, the integration that we do. Okay. So if you talk about this, so this is actually the complete INFRAON suite, which we are providing to our customers. So it has all the three components which are integrated with each other, and there is a core artificial intelligence layer in between which manages the entire integration altogether. So it starts with your INFRAON IMS, where you are monitoring your entire data IT infrastructure. You're monitoring your cloud infrastructure, your networks, utility systems, right? We also support monitoring of the next generation networks, so like your SD-WAN, GPON, MPLS, right? And the moment an alarm is received, the integration layer can send out that alarm to the INFRAON desk, where so let's say for a router there was an alarm, okay, and the alarm was sent out to INFRAON desk for ticket creation. And while the engineer or while the help desk engineer was working on the ticket, they understand that there is some network configuration that needs to be changed, okay, within the for that particular device, or maybe there is some vulnerability, or maybe some old patch that is running, right? So in such scenarios, you can actually automate that entire task, where the INFRAON desk will send out the information to NCCM, and NCCM can carry out the configuration upload task for managing the configuration. So you can create templates and you can actually modify the entire configuration of that device. So that's one way how you get the complete 360-degree view of the entire infra, right from the, when you're creating or when you are monitoring the entire network infrastructure, you're creating the tickets for the alarms, and you are actually remediating the fault in the systems as well. So that is something that is provided in an integrated fashion. Okay, and it also helps you in a decreased ROI, in an increased ROI, as well as so all the data is in a single repository, so you get a much better analytics, you get a much better then you can opt for certain AI ops based features that we have. So like you can go for a capacity planning, you can try out for the alarm suppressions, right? So these kind of features are available within the tool itself. Okay, so any queries, please feel free to ask. If I'm going too fast, please do let me know. So, and that was the part where we would be talking about the products, and we will be moving towards the MSP section now. So in case you have any queries, please feel free to put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself as well, and else we will move forward.
I think you can continue, Manish.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So when we talk about MSPs, right, managed service providers, so you're basically monitoring, or you're you're offering to monitor the devices for your customers in case there is any alarm that comes in. You want to rectify that, right? So, and any devices can be included in that. So there can be servers, there can be applications, and the entire network, right? So for now, what happens is why we talk about INFRAON IMS as the MSP. So what we do is we enable you to provide a seamless support to your customers. Okay, so what we do is you will have the complete control when it comes to all the customers network infrastructure, network devices, or server devices and all. Okay, but at the same time, for managing their privacies, we also offer you with a read-only data where the customer will feel more secure when their data is their data is something that can only be accessed, or that can only be modified by them. Okay, so we provide you with that level of encapsulation for the data, and you can deploy it in multiple locations or in different customers. So your customers, even if you have hundreds of customers, the same can be deployed on multiple customer channels, and you will get a seamless and a centralized information sitting in your NOC. Okay, and let's talk about a typical architecture of the MSP. So what we have is you have something as a master database where all the data with respect to the alarms, with respect to the devices that are being monitored, everything will be stored under the master database, right? So the master database will receive information from different customer portals, different administration portals. Then you have a DB manager, right? And at the same time, you have a different customer setups as well. So like you will have a one customer setup who will have, let's say, 500 devices in their infra. There will be some customers who will have 200 devices in their infra, right? So there will be an on-site database that will be collecting the data, and it will be sending out to the master database altogether. So how we do it is we use a standard, a Kafka cluster, which is used in between the customer and the MSP setups. Okay, so how the data is being transferred is quite simple actually. So the moment you are capturing the data in the customer's environment, we are sending out that information to the master database. Okay, so when the NOC engineers or when the MSPs will be looking into that into their customers portals, what they will get is the information with regards to all the different customers, and they will be looking into a replicated data. Okay, so that way the customers data is being kept in their environment, and you are getting the replicated information, so that in case if there are customers who wants to get, they need some extra privacy, they need some extra security within the tool, so that is being catered at. Okay, so we also have certain cloud deployment instances where we can deploy the entire thing in the cloud. We are currently using AWS clouds. Okay, so be it your S3 buckets or EC2s, and we are using different database for that. So we are using timescale database as well as NoSQL database. Okay, so the customers can access this particular instance using their web application or the mobile app, or their mobiles app as well. Okay, and what we do under the cloud infra is basically we deploy small agents in the customer sites. Okay, so there will be let's say there are 3 customers, so there is agent 1, agent 2, and agent 3, which will be deployed at the customer end, and that will be collecting the data and sending out that information to the cloud MSP and MSP setup. And in the MSP setup, there are certain queue services, there are certain database and queue processors who will be analyzing the data, who will be showcasing the data to the MSP. And based on that, either if the customer wants to access it, they will be able to access their infra, and the MSP will be able to access the customer's infra as well. Okay, so that is the standard procedure that we are offering. And based on that, so when we talk about an individual customer, so this is a typical setup where you have the customer setup will include their infrastructure as well as a customer premise infra. Okay, and the data from their customers infrastructure will be followed or will be replicated to the central DB server, and there will be a master portal for the MSPs who can who will be able to access the customer portals from there. Okay, the master portal will have access to the centralized database server. Okay, so we are not directly providing the database access of the customers. Okay, the customers database will be replicated in the centralized database, so that when the master portal is accessing the data, they will be able to see the replicated data for all the different customers. Okay, and that customer portal and the master portal will be accessed by the centralized NOC users. So how does it actually work? So you have the customer data, which is uploaded locally on the INFRAON IMS, which is currently installed in the customer premise. All the data sync will occur between the customer DB and the centralized DB, and the customer DB will be replicated to the centralized database. Okay, now the data from the centralized database will be synced with the IMS portal, or you can call it as a master portal as well. And any fault in performance or any management actions that needs to be taken will be taken on the basis of the replicated data, which is being monitored from the master portal. Okay, now this is just an example of how a master portal can look like. So if you see here, this is an MSP home page, and we have different customers. Okay, so we have Airtel, we have Jio, there is a CMS IT and enterprise, then you have a bank as well, IDBI bank, right? So you have different customers environment from in a single frame. Okay, so you do a centralized monitoring, you have a centralized inventory, you can see all the different alarms that are associated with those devices. So like you're monitoring about 98 devices from Airtel, out of which 59 devices are up, and you have about 33 devices which are currently down. Okay, out of the 59 devices which are currently up, you have around 2,868 critical alarms and 236 orange alarms, and you have some minor alarms as well. Okay, so this is how you will be able to access the systems. And this is all dynamic dashboard. So if you click on that number, it will showcase you the list of devices. If you want to move on to the customer portal, you can log into the customer portal and see what are the different devices which are currently down. In case you want to perform any action, you want to do a ping check, you want to take a telnet or SSH of that device, that is available via the master portal as well. Okay, so now when we talk about any MSP environments, there will be different kind of users who will be accessing the tool, right? So there are always, customer is always there, so they will be accessing their systems. But apart from that, you will have an administrator, you will have an MSP administrator as well, right? You will have a level 2 or NOC engineer or a NOC user, right? So these different users will have different level of authorization. So what they can or cannot do can be controlled using the roles and privileges page, okay, or can be controlled using the roles or the privileges that the MSP administrator will provide. Okay, so when we talk about different users, okay, so before that, so when we talk about the master portal, so it will act as a complete dashboard. It will have different hyperlinks to go to individual customer setups. So in case if I want to go to Airtel's customer setup, I can move into their individual setup. I can go to the individual setup of CMSIT and so on, right? Then the master portal is being used by the MSP admins. So they can actually create a single sign-on for the NOC users. They can provide the customer information. So what will happen is when you are having certain MSP admins and there are NOC users, so you might not want to disclose all the details of the customers to your NOC users, okay, or to your junior level people. So what will happen is the administrators which are available, so they will be creating a single sign-on for the NOC users. So the NOC user will not have to log in directly to the customer portal. They will log in into the master portal using their account, and based on that, if they are authorized to go to the Airtel individual page, they will be able to access the Airtel customer setup. Okay, in case they are not authorized for CMSIT, in case they are not authorized for Geo, they will not be able to access that particular customer setup. Okay, and of course, when we provide centralized monitoring, so it helps you for single sign-on. It helps you to create all the reports from a single dashboard. Then you get ticket creation. So any alarms that are associated with any particular customer, you can actually convert those alarms into tickets, right? Or and the automatic conversion of alarm to incidents are also available using this simple tool. Now, when we talk about different users, so like we were discussing about the MSP admin, which is available, there is a NOC user, and then finally there is a customer. So when we talk about customers, so the customer will have access to their own active environment. They will not be able to see any other customer data. Okay. Then when you talk about the NOC user, the NOC user will view will have the access to the master portal. They can access the alarm dashboards. They can raise incidents based on alarms, and they can access the customer portal through the master portal only. So we are not providing direct access to any direct access to any customer portal. Okay. So what we do is like I mentioned, so they will log in into the master portal, and the customers for which they are authorized, only those customers they will be able to access the individual customer portal. Okay. Whereas when we talk about the MSP admin, so that's the highest level of user. So MSP admin will have, of course, they will have access to master portal. They will be able to customer configurations, which is not available under the user or the NOC user segment. An MSP admin can also create different NOC users. Okay. And then we are using the administrator account for controlling the access level for different users. Okay. So like I mentioned, so you can actually configure that, if Manish is a NOC user and he is only authorized to access the Airtel setup, or he is only authorized to access the Geo setup. So the rest of the customer portals will not be accessible for me. They'll not be visible at all. Okay. So that is where we are defining different user access within the within your MSP environment. So you can actually control who can access which customer's data. Okay, and it provides you a better offer. Yeah, so just some more information with regards to the MSP and the NOC users. Now, in terms of module accesses, okay, so there are different customer portals. So customer portal, or when we talk about a master portal, it can be accessed by the MSP admin or the NOC administrators, right? So they can NOC users configuration can be done using the master portal. You can actually do customer setup mapping, right? And when it comes to a replicated customer portal, right? So which is basically the replicated data, which is accessed by the master portal users. So then there are NOC administrators who can use the portal using the single sign-on. There are NOC administrators and customers who will have authorization to view it, to view to or to access all the modules within INFRAON IMS. And reporting modules is also available. So customers will also be able to view the reports which have been created by the NOC administrators, so that as and when required, they can download that reports, or they can schedule the reports to be sent out on a regular basis. So that was from my side in terms of the different users, how the MSPs are getting connected. Okay, we have, I think, 10 minutes for yeah, so we have about 10 minutes for Q&A, or if Fanky or Abhishek, if you would like to add on anything.
Yeah, I think there are some question already, Manish.
Okay, in the chat.
Yeah, in the chat. I will try to translate. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is there any hybrid solution to monitor where they should put the INFRAON? Is on premise or they using the public cloud?
Okay, so there are two ways. Okay, so like if I go back, so the typical MSP deployment, it talks about the on-premise setups where your the MSP setup will be under the MSP's data center, and the different customer setups will be on their site or on customer's site. Okay, so that is a on-premise structure that we talk about. But we also have the AWS instance where the MSP can have access to or the entire master portal or the MSP portal can be put on AWS cloud, and the customer will anyways will have their individual agents which will be on premise. So it will, the customer data has to be on premise so that we can collect that information and send it over to the cloud modules.
So it's so there are two options, right? I mean the customer can sorry, the MSP company.
The MSP can opt for it. Yeah.
Yeah, the MSP company can put it on the on-premise, or they can also use it as a cloud deployment, right?
Correct.
Oke, itu ya Pak Casmadi ya jawabannya pertanyaan dari Bapak. Oke, next. Next, I saw the question from Pak Ucok. How about the confidential security? Is it under responsible the managed service company or the managed service provider? The confidential security. I think in the as a platform for the MSP, I think the user arrangement and everything is managed by the platform, right?
Yes. So if I let me know if I understood the question right. So when we talk about confidential security, so it's more about how the data is being kept confidential from of different customers, right?
Yeah.
So when we are replicating so first of all, like I mentioned, so we are actually, the MSPs, they are not directly consuming the database of the customer. Okay, so they are actually viewing the replicated data. Okay, and when we are replicating the data into the centralized database, so there is a logical barrier between different customer data that is being kept. Okay, so one customer's data will not be accessible to any other customer, first of all, and secondly, the data will only be accessible by the NOC users and by the MSP admins for whom it is being authorized. So in the centralized database, I will have data of Airtel, I will have data of Jio, and all the other customers as well, right? So, but since we are providing a single sign-on, since we are authorizing certain users for certain customers, so like Manish can be an engineer or Manish can be a NOC user, but he can only access or he is only responsible for the Airtel customer, right? So I will not be able to see any other customer's data at all. So that is how we are maintaining it. And another thing is, in any ways, the customer data that I am able to access, it's actually a replicated data. Okay, so I'm not directly accessing the customer's database, so I don't have access so that I can modify. So it's more like a read-only access for me.
Yeah, yeah. So even as yourself as a provider, can you access the customer data or not?
So you can access the customer data, but it is again, so the way you are accessing it is you are not directly accessing the database.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are actually accessing the replicated database. So when we talk about different customer portals, right? So here, if you see, you have about 6 customers over here, right? So if you want to go to any individual customer setup, so when you move into Airtel setup, you will be able to see what are these 98 devices, what are these different alarms which are available or which are currently active, right? So those data you will be able to see, okay? And depending on what actions needs to be taken, so then you provide a secure connectivity to the customer and to the customer environment, so that we can actually, ultimately the whole purpose is you are monitoring your customers data or you're monitoring your customers environment, right? So it's not going to be that, once you receive an alarm and your work ends. No, you have to work on that alarm too. So you need to have access to the customer environment so that you can take access, you can modify the issue, or you can rectify the issue, and you can finally put up a report against these different alarms.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the answer, Pak Ucok. Let me see another question. Yeah.
And one more thing that I would like to add is, again, the SSO part, which I am, emphasizing a lot. So only the MSP administrators which are there, right? So there may be, 5 administrators or 10 administrators. Only these 10 administrators will have the data which is regarding to the customer setup. So, the customer URL or the customer's credentials and all. For the rest of the users, like the NOC users, we are providing a single sign-on. Okay, so what single sign-on here will mean is the NOC users will have to log in into the MSP portal. So they will use the MSP, their own credentials. So I have my own login credentials for logging into the MSP tool. Okay, and then when I'm going to a customer portal, I will not be asked the credentials again. Okay, because what the network administrators have done, what the MSP administrator has done is they have encapsulated the the customer's credentials. Okay, so when a NOC user accesses the customer environment, so we have internally given him the authorization. So he is not able to see, or he does not know the password to the customer environment. Okay, so that is being handled by the NOC administrators and the system itself.
Yeah. Okay, this is, I think, almost the same question, yeah, from Pak Reynard. How security to protected user for access the portal? I think how to secure you divided users, yeah, for accessing portal, because I think it's the same portal, right? But different customer can access. What do you
No,
think?
so when the customer is going to access, right? So customer will have access only to its to their active setup. They will not be able to see the MSP home. Okay, so the customer will have their individual setup where they will see how many devices they are currently monitoring. Okay, and what are the current alarms and all that. So they will not have access to the MSP setup. Okay, and in terms of security, so we are using HTTPS and a secured channel in terms of accessing the customer setup. So be it a VPN or even if you're connecting directly, so we are using certain SSLs so that the transmission of data is through an encrypted channel.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Pak Nanang, how INFRAON EMS can improve application and network performance with real-time reports and alerts for proactive monitoring?
Okay, good one. So when we talk about proactive monitoring, right? So we have certain AI ops enabled features when it talks about your alarm suppression or finding out finding out the alarms before they even occur. So based on the historical data and based on the data that we have collected, the system is able to analyze and do the capacity planning within the network. So in case we find so in case we find that there is a particular server or any router which for the past 6 months it has been like almost fully utilized. Okay, so it has a 48 GB RAM, and over the past 6 months it is being utilized like for 90% utilization for almost throughout the period. And again, then there is another server which has 128 GB of RAM, but it has hardly been utilized like 20% or 25% over the period, right? So that kind of resource planning the tool can help you out with, where you can actually plan out the resources. So the 128 GB server does not actually require that amount of RAM into it, whereas the 48 GB RAM could use a little boost, right? So that kind of reports are available within the tool. You can do an alarm prediction based on the previous data. The system can showcase you that on this particular time, this is what we are predicting, that the CPU utilization or any parameter that we are monitoring, right? So that can cross the threshold limit. So before even it is occurred, you can actually predict certain alarms. Okay, and we also have a concept of anomaly detection, where in case we find out that every day at let's say 10 a.m. or every day at night, so there is a specific high utilization between different servers, right? So identifying that, and based on that you can do certain alarm suppressions, that okay, this is a particular time where you are actually downloading a certain report of let's say past 6 months or past 3 months, and due to that the utilization is going above the threshold mark on multiple occasions, right? So you can use the alarm suppression so that you don't have to actually work on those alarms. That is a known thing, so it is going to happen every day for let's say 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, but it will eventually come down to the levels.
Yeah. Okay, I think that also another one, how INFRAON EMS can equip IT workforce to solve problem smoothly and ensure service excellence anytime and anywhere.
Okay, so we do have different channels how we are sending out the alarm information to the engineers. Okay, so you can send out alarms via a notification, via emails, via SMS, right? And another thing is when you're using INFRAON IMS along with the service management tool, right? So you are actually converting. So you can convert the critical alarms into tickets without even a manual intervention. Okay, so you can, the moment an alarm comes into NMS, it can immediately send out the ticket information to the ITSM tool. A ticket can be generated and it can be assigned to the specific technician. So that, and in the ITSM tool, we are also managing the SLAs, where you have a response time SLAs, you have a resolution time SLAs, and you make sure that all all these SLAs are being met. Okay, and we support different escalations based on the SLAs also, and based on the whether you have acknowledged that particular incident or not. So that way we are able to identify how the workforce is actually, working on different alarms that are being generated. Okay, so you have the option where you can calculate the work log timers. Okay, where you can calculate how much time a specific engineer has spent on a ticket. Okay, you have the option of doing an auto timer, you have the option of doing a manual timer over there. Okay, and as and when the SLA is about to breach, right? So then you have pre-notifications as well. So before even the SLA is going to breach, we can send out a notification to the respective stakeholders, stating that for this particular ticket, or for this particular alarm, this SLA is going to breach in next 15 minutes or so. So you can define these things to work out or to help the IT professionals to better resolve the issues in a timely manner.
Yeah. Okay. Pak Reddy asking about the parameters in monitoring the data center environment for MSP. Is it possible?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Frankie?
Pak Reddy asking about the parameters what parameters should be part of the data center environment monitoring scheme?
Okay,
If,
so
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, so to answer that, so see, the parameters will depend on what kind of device we are monitoring. Okay, so since we do not install any agents on that target device, so whatever parameters I am receiving from SNMP protocol or WMI or SSH, I can monitor those parameter information. Okay, and as and when any of these parameter crosses the threshold, you can get the alarms, on your screen.
Yeah.
So if
But
required, Frankie, what I can do is we have a certain list of parameters that we, some set of standard parameters that we monitor for different type of devices. So like for servers, network devices, databases, then you have different Apache, Tomcat, different applications, right? So
yeah.
we can share that information with you, and of course you can share it with the partners, so that it can help them also to understand what are the different parameters we can capture from the tool.
Yeah.
But it's not limited to only that list. So it all depends on what all details we are getting from the different protocols.
Yeah. Okay, I think the last one, whether the system can perform an audit of network server security system vulnerabilities. If yes, so far, whether the system can perform an audit of network servers or servers security system vulnerabilities, Manish.
Okay, so when it comes to audit, so there are two things. So all the three tools that we have talked about, the INFRAON IMS, INFRAON Desk, and NCCM. So all these three tools, they have their own audit systems in place in between. Inbuilt in them. Okay, so whatever actions you do within the tool will be captured. First of all, the second kind of audit will be of the network devices, right? So our NCCM tool provides you with a security audit report, okay, which is a very comprehensive and a very detailed report. It talks about what are the different user accounts in that particular device, what are the passwords that they are using. Okay, of course, that particular report is only for the network administrators, and in case you want to show it to the auditors, it helps you to identify if there are any weak passwords in that particular for any of the users, right? And it has a lot of other informations as well. So in case you have weak passwords, what is the current what would be the recommendation that the system provides. It's a very detailed and comprehensive report, but it is only available for the network devices.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not available for the servers.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the question. Manish, you can stop the share screen. I will pass again to Amanda for taking a picture together before your closing remark. Amanda?
Bapak, Ibu hadirin sekalian, silakan aktifkan video kamera Anda, kita akan foto bersama.
Silakan tampilkan videonya, kita foto bersama. Silakan yang belum buka videonya, ayo.
Kita tunggu beberapa detik lagi.
Silakan di capture, Amanda.
Ya, 1, 2, 3. Oke, sudah Pak. Silakan mendengarkan closing remark.
Okay, Manish, we want to hear your closing remark. How to utilize the INFRAON platform for managed service provider. Manish?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, well, to sum up, what I would request, all the participants here would be to reach out to your customers to understand their requirements, right? So we have different tools that can be utilized in terms of whether it is monitoring or whether it is in terms of the help desk tools. So both the tools can be utilized as an MSP, where you can reach out to your customers, you can monitor their devices on their behalf, you can raise out different alarms, okay? And of course, any of these partners, if you want to have more information with regards to the tool functionality, with regards to the tool features, we are open to to conduct individual demos for you guys. And we can also opt, in case we have a good opportunity, we can opt for a POC to understand their requirement and to showcase our functionalities within the customer environment as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Manish. Silakan Amanda closing.
Terima kasih, Thank you, Mr. Manish, for teaching us today, for being our speaker today. Thank you, Pak Funky, for being our moderator. Thank you, our audience. Terima kasih peserta. Sampai ketemu di acara kami selanjutnya pada tanggal 14 Juli. Tuhan memberkati, stay safe.
Tiga orang pemenangnya belum.
3 orang pemenang. Congratulations kepada Pak Nanang Harijanto. Pak Nanang, apakah masih hadir? Oh, ya.
Hadir.
Ya, selamat Pak Nanang. Yang kedua ada Pak Redi Prasetyo. Redi
Prasetya ya kayaknya.
Ya. Ya, masih hadir ya Pak. Ya, selamat ya Pak. Yang ketiga ada Pak Reynat. Selamat kepada
Hadir.
Oke, selamat ya Pak.
Terima kasih.
Jangan lupa ya, minggu depan masih ada lanjutannya ya. Tanggal 13-14 silakan teman-teman register untuk ikutan next sesinya, kita bahas selanjutnya. Oke, silakan tutup Amanda.
Oke. Terima kasih Pak Funky atas menjadi moderatornya. Thank you Manish for being our speaker today. Terima kasih peserta. Sampai jumpa di acara selanjutnya.
Terima kasih semua. Thank you Manish.
Terima kasih Pak.
Pak Denny.
Terima kasih Pak Funky.
Silakan kontak tim kami ya. Thank you.
Terima kasih semuanya. Thank you Manish, thank you.